Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of 10 Words or Less, in which I ask interesting questions of interesting people. I ask brief questions, and I ask them to answer in kind. I met today's guest when I attended her session at a Green Expo years ago, and she kept coming into my view often enough that I knew that we should talk. So here we are. She's an author, an advocate for personal eco-consciousness and action, and a recognized speaker, doing very well in that regard. Now, remember, 10 words is an ethic, not a limit. So to those of you at home, please, no counting. If you think it's so easy, let's see you do it, especially on the fly. Okay, so I know the answer to this question, but I always ask it first. Please tell me how you want your first and last names to appear.
So my first name is Kristi, K-R-I-S-T-I, and my last name is Marsh, M-A-R-S-H.
Thank you very much. And you were born when and where?
I was born in Portland, Oregon in 1970.
Okay, are you willing to give us any more information about that?
I have this limit of words hanging above my head. It's often a challenge for me. So I was born in Portland, Oregon. Soon after, moved to California, where I was raised in Sacramento. Spent some time back up in the state of Washington, and then have spent almost the last 20 years here south of Boston in Massachusetts.
Okay. What is of course it's central to your story, but still, in non-invasive terms, tell me what your family circumstance is today. Married, with kids, other people living at home, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So I am raising a family. I am from 2 o'clock to midnight a stay-at-home mom, raising my 3 teenagers, and my husband is in retail here in Massachusetts.
What would you characterize your occupation?
An educator of mainstream women who are curious and want to learn more about this whole movement where the products that we choose to bring into our homes can have an impact on our health.
As a friendly note, this is usually I would add that mainstream men who are responsible for bringing the goods into their house, like I am, may also, or your message isn't for people like me.
No, I agree. A lot of my presentations and my book, Little Changes, is presented in a way of a lot of storytelling, and I find that I connect most with women and their stories, and I've had that challenge brought up to me several times, and I like to respond that I think that that person needs to write that book as well. So the invitation is out there, and the book is much needed. Gotcha.
Okay. I will not be writing that book. Not that you made it specifically to me. Okay. So what do you remember wanting to be when you grew up?
A rockette. That didn't work out. An animal trainer at a amusement park. That didn't work out. By the time I was a teen, I realized I really had a connection towards training. And in college, I studied human resources. I went into the world of retail and was a trainer at Target and at a beauty industry store in malls. And that's where I found this connection to be working with women and bringing them along in a process.
Tell me an early influence on you outside your immediate family.
An early influence on me outside of my immediate family would have to be the outdoors. From camping to being raised as a preteen with having a horse as my sense of independence. But the idea of this relationship where I find happiness and peace and the interaction between nature and our own bodies also drove me to be a geology minor in college. A little known fact.
Okay. I should say for the folks at home, when there are those slight awkward pauses, it's because I'm typing. My intention is to check back with this recording to make sure I got it right, but still I like to try to capture as much of it as I can in real time. And I will do an edited transcript under ground rules that Kristi and I have already discussed and that she's okay with. And then we'll post, in addition to this video, I will post a edited text version of this interview for people who prefer to take their information in that way instead of this way. So that's why I'm typing, and that's what explains the pauses. Tell me, name for me, if you would, Kristi, a hero today, as opposed to an early influence, someone also outside your family, please.
Mm-hmm. I think I spent most of my life knowing or have heard of the name Rachel Carson. But it wasn't until my late 30s that I actually learned more about who Rachel Carson was as an author, as a scientist, as an advocate for women. I read Silent Spring, and I know that it is an impactful book on my particular generation, but being raised within my generation, I had no idea what it was about. Once I read Silent Spring and learned more about Rachel Carson's legacy, I think it influences me greatly, and I have deep admiration and respect for the change that she created, not only in the 1960s, but the ripples of effect that it created throughout the 1970s.
Hey, I've already made clear it's not a limit, but it is a suggestion.
That was short.
You're doing fine, and I always like to invoke the name of Deb Burgard, because that interview went 55 minutes. And at the end she said, Michael, I told you I don't like limits on anything. And fair enough, it was a great interview. I refer anyone to go watch it and see what you think. It's also, I should say, rife with technical difficulties that are all my fault, including that I didn't remember that the sun goes down. So it's not one of my finest hours technically, but it is a great conversation. Anyway, so you have your work cut out to get to that length, but please don't try. Tell me, what is your book called, and how can people get it?
My book is called Little Changes, Tales of a Reluctant Home Economics Pioneer, more affectionately just referred to as Little Changes.
I'm sorry. Tales of a Reluctant Mom and...
Tales of a Reluctant Home Economics Pioneer. It's a lengthy tagline, but mostly just referred to as Little Changes.
Fair enough. Okay, and how can people get it?
It is a paperback on any normal online paperback stores you go to. It is also as an ebook, same thing wherever you normally get your ebooks. You can also purchase directly through choosewiser.com.
Okay, and if you're anything like me, that's the preferred route for you because you retain a greater portion of the proceeds. Is that correct?
I am a self-publisher. I have my own inventory and distribution. I am the janitor, the bus driver, all of it. So yes, if you come through ChooseWiser, I'm better able to give you customer service and send it to you directly. Otherwise, it just comes through the mainstream channels.
Excellent. Okay. Tell me something you like about being an author. Is it being the fulfillment agent? Just kidding.
What do I love about or like about being an author? The interaction with the readers. I wrote Little Changes in a very humbling way in order to try and resonate with readers, to really connect with them. And after they read or when they're reading the book and they reach out to me with an email, that's what it's all about for me.
Okay. So what's something that you don't like?
Writing.
An author who doesn't like to write.
No, I don't care for writing. I find it very painful, and I think it was the best advice I've received is that to be an author, it's most important to have a story. And then my next best friend is who I refer to as my queen editor. Keeps me in line.
Excellent. Name a skill that you never expected to have.
A skill that I never expected to have was speaking. I joined Toastmasters about 9 years ago to find out if I even had what it takes to speak, to test it out. And an incredible journey unfolded from there.
What's your home club?
Pardon me?
What is your home club?
Oh, my home club, the Tri-County Toastmasters in District 31. So that was really the springboard to allow me to get my message out to the world and connect with women. And I have since been asked to speak at Boston University and Purdue University, national conferences in Anaheim, and at the Senate House in Washington, D.C. It's been pretty amazing.
Awesome. Where did you learn how to market yourself?
At the same time that I was self-teaching myself how to become a self-publisher and a speaker, I also immersed myself into this world of social media and social marketing and started to attend blogger conferences, kind of camouflage myself right in there as if I was one, and I find that world to be very creative and fun.
Apart from the obvious, all right, now we haven't actually introduced this before, although I know that you do. It's one of the starts of your story. Mm-hmm. I'll just ask the question the way it is. Apart from the obvious, an unexpected outcome of your cancer.
Mm-hmm. So I was plugging along on Mainstream Life and Mainstream Mom, and that's when I started this journey, when I discovered my lump with cancer. And the shortest way to put it, it went through surgeries, radiation, and chemotherapy. Coming out the other end of chemotherapy provided me with a different sensation of letting go of how people view me and really sticking to the core inside parts of me. Being a person who for quite a while had to wear a headscarf, no eyebrows, no eyelashes due to toxins being put into my body, you learn to rely on your inner true self. That now allows me to take a lot of risks and test and do things that I think many other women are a little bit more inhibited to do, because they come from a world where we still subconsciously maybe worry about what people think of us. And I feel like I have been able to shed a few layers of that and just go forth in what's really important.
Okay, please define sustainability.
Sustainability in my world of Choose Wiser is understanding how the environment around us impacts our bodies. And then trying to make decisions as a consumer about the products that we bring into our home. So that can spread out to a zillion different paths and journeys. That can include everything from ingredients and cosmetics to the foods we choose, to containers such as plastic, but how it interacts with our bodies and our health.
Okay. How would you say most people define it, in your opinion?
I think in the evolution of our generation, we start to think about how our actions are impacting our environment, kind of the reverse of what I said. And in terms of recycling resources and what we're using and how that impacts our world. So this is taking it not necessarily to a different level, because in the end, it all still is interacting. It's all the same topic, but it's just a different way of viewing it.
Sorry, it's just a different way of revealing it?
Of viewing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. When I think of the limited resources or how we impact our world at large, as a little old me, it feels very overwhelming. And I'm not sure about the impact just I can have. But when I look at it as the impact I have on my home and the choices I make and the impact it has on my health and my family, there's tremendous impact. It's a little bit more satisfying that way. Keeps you going longer.
Tell me of an example. No, I'm going to skip that. What did Michelle Obama thank you for?
When I was invited to speak at a press conference in the Senate buildings in Washington, D.C., I was there to help create education and press on an ongoing struggle we have in our government right now on toxin reform, on the idea that we don't have enough safety issues set up right now on harmful chemicals that are in our products. And as I was able to do the presentation and then spend the day meeting senators and talking to senators, I left a copy of little changes in each of the offices, including my home senators. And then I left a copy in my home senator's office with a special note to our First Lady. Everyone around me kind of giggled and laughed at my efforts, but I thought, again, what can it hurt? And a few weeks later, I received a call from the office of the First Lady asking for my address and a note that was followed after that, thanking me for my efforts of what I'm doing.
Excellent. Good work. Okay, pick one. Read or watch?
Read.
Pick one. Hike or swim?
Hike.
Pick one. A crowd or alone?
Yes. I'm very much both of those. I spend 80% of my time as a hermit, just loving what I do, and then I swing far to the other side of absolutely loving the bigger the stage and the bigger the crowd.
Got it. I have seen you in front of a crowd, and you do quite well, if I may say.
Thank you.
Someone who deserves more attention.
Someone who deserves more attention. Our teens.
Okay.
Would you like me to elaborate?
Well, you've definitely done well. I mean, that's going to help your average, bringing it down toward 10, that's for sure. Yeah, just kidding. Your choice.
In my line of work in educating moms and women, it's a struggle knowing that our teens are impacted by all the social pressures of the world and by their friends more than they are from us. And we often give up on it, and we stop educating them. And I think we need to hold to our hearts and continue to educate them on food and their choices and their branding. Their impact is incredible, and it's easy to let go of that and just hand them over to the world. But we need to hold on to that education.
Okay. Tell me someone who deserves less attention.
Less attention?
Yeah.
Corporations who don't put our health first.
Yeah, it's too bad that they can buy it. Anyway, boy, that's another editorial comment. I don't accept it for what you will. Sorry. To what do you owe your success? Pick one.
Family support.
Something that people don't understand.
Endocrine disruptors.
Okay, that's a good one. Tell us more so that the people who listen and read this later will understand better.
Within my generation, we have really started to unfold this topic that chemicals and ingredients can behave like hormones within our very own bodies. And not just something rare or something we rarely come in contact to, but again, ingredients that are found in everyday cosmetics and cleaning products. And as we surround ourselves by those, some of these ingredients behave like hormones in our body, and hormones have very important jobs. But when we have excessive ones or influences of them in our body, it manipulates our bodies. So this is a unfolding topic right here and right now, and it's a topic that I wish every woman and every mom knew and understood more, so that they can take some preventative actions for their health and their other daughters and men.
Okay. Tell me.
I left him wordless.
Well, I was going to ask, and I guess I'm going to, but the reason I paused is you've already answered this question like 6 times. But still, the change that you want to see in the world.
The shift that I believe that is happening right now is this idea that we're advocates for our own bodies. I believe over the 60s and 70s and 80s of the 1900s, we became very trusting and branded because it was easy and convenient and helpful to be able to trust. And we're shifting back to the other side now, where we have to be advocates of our own bodies and our choices.
Okay. What is a change that you think might still be coming to you personally?
My work is still yet to be done, and I have been on a very amazing journey with Choose Wiser over the last almost 10 years, but I know that my greatest impact is still ahead. And it's following that and continuing to understand what that impact is.
We've reached the end of our questions. Is there something that you wished I had asked about?
Not particularly. I think one of my greatest wishes is just simply to cause discussion. That a lot of these topics that are covered in Choose Wiser and Little Changes are topics that women and men are thinking about on and off in their own homes. And what I'm able to see from where I'm at is that it happens from neighborhood to neighborhood and town to town, but people aren't saying things out loud. And when they do, when they start to discuss, and when they start to just say, hey, I'm learning about this, then amazing things start to happen and connect and shift and change.
Righty. Well, the way I experience you, you're going to be part of that, and I admire your message. It is partly that's because it's one that I work with as well, but I really do admire what you're accomplishing so far. I think you have some great formulations of the important ideas and topics, and I thank you for spending the time. I hope I can bring just if only 1 or 2 more people to your cause and to awareness of you, I'll be pleased.
Thank you, and your position and your voice is much, much needed. It is. Thank you for doing what you do.
Well, thank you. Now we're just in a self-admiration or a mutual admiration society, and I guess that's okay. But as long as we can agree that I didn't say what I said, so I could get that back. Very kind of you to say, and we're done. So as I say, I'll be in touch soon with an edited transcript. The one thing I'll explain to our viewers as we end is that I will edit Kristi's words. Like I said, she already knows this and she's okay with it, but I'm going to edit the words. I'm going to do it in several different ways. I don't know exactly how, but in several different methods. But unlike when I was a newspaper reporter, I will send Kristi the entire edited interview before I publish it, and she can say, no, you got that right, no, you missed the point. We're not talking about adding new comments, but we're talking about shortening it in a way that still represents what Kristi thinks. And as long as she's okay with that, when you read it, you'll know that she was okay with it.
All right.
All right, so thanks very much, and have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.